Hello, I'm Jerry Shadbach, pastor at the Lighthouse in your Brain, Missouri. Leviticus 25, verse number 10 says, "And ye shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof." It's Memorial Day, and that is a time to remember. We might think such a day would be remembered soberly, seriously, with reflection on the value of the sacrifice that has been made by so many to secure and to safeguard our liberties. Most Americans, however, have turned it into yet another excuse to party hardy. Here's something to think about. Americans who celebrate Memorial Day with frivolity, drunkenness, and things like that, perhaps they are celebrating their idea of liberty after all. Have you noticed that, for example, alcohol consumption has been attached to liberty? It has almost become a kind of symbol of liberty. Tipping the glass today is practically a symbol of liberty in the mind of many. It's like a defiant fist pump of victory over the prudish prohibition Nazis, right? Americans can find a conspiracy in anything, but fail to see any conspiracy here. Prohibition was never about making booze illegal. Fact is, it was about making its sale and merchandising illegal. You can make your own hooch at home, but you couldn't make merchandise of your neighbors with it. I mean, you couldn't promote it through merchandising to get people addicted to it and then make them a slave to King Alcohol. And if you knew how many diseases and how many deaths are related to alcohol, I won't go there right now. That's another story. The point here is to say, perhaps not so subtly, that there is a connection between how we celebrate Memorial Day and how our ideas about liberty have changed in this country. So drinking alcohol has become a sort of statement of liberty. Smoking has had resurgence in our culture, especially among our young. And it's the same thing, a sort of in-your-face fist pump declaration, I'm me and I'm free kind of thing, a declaration of personal independence. If you think about it, the entire homosexual agenda is driven by the idea that liberty means freedom from sexual restraints and limitations. Since the homosexual revolution has come to full steam, now they are introducing sadomasochism, bondage type things, stuff we would consider sick not too long ago. Got handcuffs, wink, wink. You've noticed that, I'm sure. Pedophilia. Yeah. Salon.com publishes an article in which an admitted pedophile comes out, as it were. And they're talking about removing pedophilia from the list of psychological disorders. And on it goes. I mean, every one of the arguments used to normalize the, according to the Bible, unnatural behavior of homosexuality is being used now to argue for normalization of pedophilia. Years ago I warned about this, and it's happening right now in front of our eyes. And it's all in the name of liberty, isn't it? A demand for the removal of all public barriers to behavior we have for centuries viewed as aberrant and abominable. In other words, liberty means something different today than it did, even when I was a kid. Certainly, over the last 100 years, it's made a 180-degree turn in the other direction. Memorial Day is about liberty. And specifically, it's a day to honor those who gave their last full measure of devotion on the field of battle, defending our liberty. But what does liberty mean today? It's important for many reasons for us to ask and answer this question. And one of them is that the meaning of liberty certainly determines the significance of the sacrifice of those who've died to preserve it. The question becomes, how many of our sons left their full measure of devotion on the battlefield for gay marriage or for redefining the meaning of the word marriage? I mean, how many of those that we remember on this day left their blood on the fields of France and Italy, on the beachheads, there on D-Day, so that Governor Brown could come along and tell schools and teachers in California that they're going to have to accept the idea that children decide their own gender. Or so that Obama could, by executive order, force society to bow down to his idea of morality. You notice, I'm sure, that the same who cried, "You can't legislate morality," are very busy legislating immorality. Did our past patriots die so a court could, by fiat, redefine marriage and impose that redefinition on all of us? And isn't it ironic that this was done in the name of liberty? That is, to encroach upon the liberties of one class of citizens in order to supposedly secure the liberties of another. To say the gender confused, mentally ill, along with those, who have been soul poisoned, if you will, by vain philosophy and deceits into accepting this nonsense, that they have a right to force society to accept men using the restroom facilities with our ladies, but our ladies have no right to privacy in that regard? Isn't that ironic? And then they're told, well, you're just going to have to get used to seeing male genitalia in the restrooms. Really? It's ironic that a society obsessed with privacy is having their privacy literally stripped away from them. You can murder a baby in the name of privacy, but you can't have privacy in the privy. Someone making a Statue of Liberty today might have her holding a bud in one hand, a condom in the other, and half her mouth painted with lipstick and the other half sporting a mustache, and then, of course, an aborted baby at her feet. These are things that symbolize liberty today. It's just like liberalism to cheapen the value of the sacrifice our soldiers have made for liberty. Vietnam, Iraq. Look what they've done to the value of the sacrifice that we honor on this Memorial Day. That's something to think about.